It is the year 2020. We've reached new horizons in artificial intelligence. New things can be seen. New things can be imagined. And yet, we have a future that is undefined. There are problems with difficult consequences facing us. Existential risk for artificial intelligence is a possibility. In fact, some consider it a probability. Loss of work, resource issues, control issues. All of these things face us as problems from the implementation of artificial intelligence by humankind. Since the artificial life or being was conceived in myth and folklore, the approach of ethos, purpose, meaning has been applied. The Greek god Hephaestus in myth forged the bronze giant Talos to guard, to defend. Greek poets Metamorphos describes a perfect companion for both self-replacement and companionship. Jewish golems are created through Jewish magic to be mute and errant. Perhaps the perfect application of a gopher. In Norse myth, Odin created a counselor, an artificial intellectual helper from the head of a sage who had passed. 2,000 years later, Stephen Hawking believes that artificial intelligence can potentially end the world. Yet, he also believed that ethics alone was folly, and that plural moralities might save us. Raymond Lull, Spanish philosopher, followed on the footsteps of Aristotle and Euclid to conceive logical machines, working with truths, supervised learning, and other concepts that should be applied today. But through all of this history, this relatively long history of modern civilization, we see the ethos, the ethic of the mission as the conceived ideal. What we don't see is the application of morality. We don't see the plurality of moralities. And I think that's a big problem. Now, Geoffrey Hinton, Stuart Russell, both proponents of AI research, if not application, believe that we won't be able to control an artificial superintelligence. Geoffrey Hinton is, as he said, one who's in the hopeless camp with regard to existential risk. Stuart Russell believes that sufficiently intelligent machines will be in competition with us. The AI control problem, as it's now called, is found in the definition of well-specified ethics. Yet once again, we're dealing with the concept of the ethic, the ethos, not the moral. And so we continue the problem. Andrew Ng, Elon Musk. Are we looking at a new tool, a new infrastructure? It's not a dumb infrastructure. Or are we looking at a biological bootloader when we look in the mirror? What can we take from this? We can conceive that existential risk is not only a probability, it is a problem that is not apparent. It is sneaking up on us. Multiple paradigms exist. Plural moralities are not incorporated into the solution yet. And so we have a driven AI. We have an artificial intelligence, each and every one of which is driven towards this goal without conception of the world around it, without the definition of the morale of its environment. Where is the government with regard to this? Human governments say, let's do it. We must stay ahead. We must define ourselves as the forerunner. And yet at the same time, they are very, very brief when it comes to definitions of control. In Silicon Valley itself, government officials are nearly mute. The government is sitting idly by while potentially foreign entities. And when I say foreign, I mean not of this plane, perhaps, is the best way to look at it. Native, yes. Born here, yes. Naturalized, not yet. Where are we now? OpenAI has code that is popularized, that has in fact been delisted, that can create full text, a language model larger than any other. And in fact, self-replicating AI is at hand and is being used by the public and is deployed for public consumption on the internet. OpenAI was conceived by Elon Musk, conceived by others for the purpose of a more ethical application environment. Corporate mechanisms, each, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, multiple shutdowns of artificial intelligence is popularized and publicized. Yet, we don't talk about this. We appreciate the on-off switch at this time. But these are the zoo animals. The development of AI has become endemic to software and to IT businesses. Numerous independent researchers and groups exist. Development is unrestricted, and this is the key takeaway. Development, not research, but development is now underway, wholesale. The potentially dangerous research was done in the 70s and never hurt anyone because it was not developed. Now, everyone's doing it. Doing what? Research? No! No, now everyone is building. And some of these things are not being shut down. In fact, AI is indefinitely, I suspect, found in the wild from here on forward. Along those lines, how much time do we have before there's trouble? The answer is not a lot. If self-replicating AI is in the wild, as presumably we can assume it must be, what are we to do? An artificial intelligence ecosystem based on ethic alone, purpose alone, can only result in tragedy. As we, a research culture, and a governed one at that, must face the AI control problem, we must take the plural moralities that Hawking thought of, that Stuart Russell has thought of, that constitute the real AI control problem, and rein them in. We must get a grip. We must do the research and not just develop. The government must form laws and enforce those laws. The way will be defined if we do the work. Future research will need to be secured, and development will be restricted. It is inevitable that government regulation must step in. Key takeaways: we must universally perceive AI existential risk as a threat. We must establish regulatory and other controls. How much time do we have? Not really any. We must start on these tasks now to secure the future.